Good morning. It's Monday. It's 97.1. Jim Costa, John Jansen, Heather Park, Gov and Greg behind the glass, Jeremy Otto on the updates. John, Tigers took 2 of 3 over the weekend. Nail-biters, close games, playoff-esque, and Detroit just keeps winning. That's another series. The only loss they had was Saturday.
That was a Skubal start, wasn't it?
A Skubal start. They pulled him at 90 pitches in a tie game when he was cruising. What was your thought?
Well, my thought was, I mean, he's crushing it, and it feels like he had retired his last 7 batters. Like we're seeing another performance like we did last Sunday where he just continues to get better as the game goes on. Stronger, more effective, and a lot of pitchers, right? You get through the lineup a third time, and you're like, okay, that's just way too many. They're figuring him out. They haven't figured Skubal out. And then they pull him after having retired the last 7 batters. He faced 22 and sat down 20 of them. I kind of raised an eyebrow going, And then you do the deep dive, right? 90 pitches. I'm wondering, is this a Tigers philosophy? Is this a limitation that they know Skubal has? Or what is the reason of pulling him at 90 pitches when he's still pitching strong?
You wanted to see him keep going.
I wanted to see him keep going. And I wanted to see, and maybe it's selfish, right? I just want to continue to see greatness perform, which he was doing, and I want to win games. And I'm not going to sit here and say, okay, well, if they had let him pitch the 8th, it was a 1-0 win for Kansas City. Would they have still lost the game? Who knows? We have no idea of knowing that.
Ultimately, the Tigers scored 0 runs, so it's hard to say, this lost them the game. I mean, they didn't score any runs. To me, it's not even about that they lost the game.
No.
They took 2 or 3. I'm not dwelling on the loss over the weekend. I am raising, you said raising an eyebrow. I am raising an eyebrow because this is an ace that they don't want to let be an ace. Because very rarely does Skubal get to 100 pitches, and that's when you and I started doing some research before the show.
Yeah.
So 100 pitches, Skubal has topped it only 4 times since the start of last year. They're very cautious with it. Mm-hmm. All were the second half of last season. None were in the playoffs. 4 times since the start of 2024. We started comparing. Mm-hmm. Chris Sale won the Cy Young last year. He had 17 in the same time. Well, that's because he's a vet. He's established. Well, Paul Skeens also had 17 as a rookie now into his second season. Logan Webb was just in town with the Giants. Hinch was praising him. He's got 19. Zach Wheeler, 22 games of 100-plus pitches since the start of last year. Max Fried, 18. Garrett Cole had 17 in one season when he won the Cy Young. Aces typically go 100-plus pitches, and if it's a Tigers philosophy that we don't let our guys go past 100 pitches, do you really justify a $400 million contract for Tarik Skubal?
So I don't know if it was Thursday or Friday, but Jeff Passan, and when we talk about this $400 million contract, he was going through a list of players that would be the next $100 million, next $200, $300, $400 million performers. And Skubal was in the $400 million, and it was 10 years, $40 million a season, and it would be done, I think it was next offseason. Sure. So he'll be 30 years old by the time the contract is over. He's 40. But it goes to how much are you willing to invest in one player when they only pitch or they only perform once every 5 games, and in that, they're not going as deep into games as other pitchers of similar but even mostly lesser caliber pitchers are going into games as. Is that the investment that you want to make in this individual?
Does it make you pause at all about an extension?
In fact, I hadn't paused until I started looking into some of the numbers. If he's not going to be a guy that, unless he is having a Maddox where he pitches a complete game, but it has to be under 100 pitches, you have a great weapon. Why not continue to use that weapon?
And there will be people who say that they're doing the responsible thing. Like AJ's philosophy is we want his arm in the fall. We want him pitching in October and November.
So are all these other teams irresponsible? Are they being irresponsible with Skeens? With Sale when he won the Cy Young?
I'm not even mad if the philosophy is we got to get these arms to the finish line. We got bigger fish to fry. I just question then maybe philosophy says you don't pay any pitcher $400 million. I'm asking the question. I think it's worth asking to people because we all love Tarik Skubal. He's a bulldog. He's an ace. Give him the ball every fifth day, although it's every sixth day this week. That's the other thing. They bump his starts back.
Yeah.
Call it babying, call it modern baseball, but if it's modern baseball, is that the argument not to extend Tarik Skubal? Is that you don't think any pitcher should be throwing 100 pitches, that nobody is worth that level of investment? 248-539-9797.
I mean, if nobody's worth that level of investment and you're not going to use a stud pitcher that way, I just don't know why you would wrap up that much of your salary cap when you're
There's no
not
cap, but
of your budget.
Yeah.
When you're not the Dodgers, when you're not the Yankees, you're not the Mets, you're not the Red Sox, you're not teams that will eat $120 million at the end of a contract just because you know you were going to get 5 really good years out of it.
248-539-9797. Does Hinch pulling Skubal at 90 pitches change the way you view extending him? Knowing that this is a trend, that he's only topped 100 pitches 4 times since the start of last year, and many of the power arms in baseball, his contemporaries, often go deeper into games. Justin Verlander was just in town and talked about that. He's like, I would let this guy go. Unleash him. And if your thought is, well, don't because he's not locked up yet, John, I would contend after they give him a 10-year deal, they're going to be extra cautious, right? They don't want to blow out a year at $40 million.
Oh,
thank you for that.
Yeah. Could be one way to look at it. Yeah, and so, I mean, this is what Verlander had to say to me. If I'm the Tigers and I've got the best pitcher in baseball, which they do, I want that out there as long as possible. Ride that horse. Hell yeah, that's the way I felt about it when I was pitching. Now, Justin Verlander is a unicorn.
Yeah.
One of very few pitchers throughout the history of baseball that could handle the amount of pitches, the workload that he was able to work. And he wasn't even on the level of a Nolan Ryan. Like that is never going to happen again. I'm not going to say never. It is very unlikely that type of pitcher ever happens again. It's not how arms are developed. It's not how clubs and franchises treat their ace pitchers. But when you're through the course of a season, maybe this is just me being just a level of stupidity about this. What is the difference of 90 pitches or you send him out there because he has retired 7 in a row? It looks and feels like he is getting stronger on the heels of a very strong performance, and let him get to 100. Maybe that gets you through 8 innings, and then all of a sudden you bring in Canely or Vest to close it out.
I mean, it's
instead
also,
of Brisky getting the ball, yeah.
He was right on that line. I know baseball's trying to manage pitches more than ever right now. I get it. But the Royals had taken out Waka in the top of the 8th, and the Tigers didn't score, right? Mm-hmm. So the bottom of the 8th, you're kind of holding the cards strategy-wise in terms of, hey, I can keep my guy because he's only at 90. Waka was at 99. And he was almost no-hitting the Tigers, okay? So he was pitching great, and he's pitched great all year. But you situationally, just strategically in that moment, in that game, should have at least let Skubal start and try to get through a quick inning. If he allows one base runner, that's when you bring somebody in and stuff. But also the guy you had to go to, like, look, I know it's just one game, but it's kind of like they threw away the game a little bit. Or do you try to get to extra innings at that point? I mean, I don't know. You get frustrated with this, but the big picture of this is it just opens my eyes to Aaron Judge before 2023 signed a contract for 9 years and $360 million. You're telling me you're going to pay this guy who plays every 5 days? Judge plays every day. He doesn't have a swing count, okay? that you're going to pay him more money than Aaron Judge? That, to me, that's crazy.
It's always tough. The pitchers versus hitters, apples to oranges, but it
ain't that much. I mean, the market that shows you, like,
yeah.
Soto's looking like he's been overpaid. It's early. You're going to give the pitcher version of a Soto contract?
That's why we bring it up. It's why I think it's a fair question. I don't want to overanalyze one loss in a season where they're in first place. It's a bigger question than Saturday. It's a question about Skubal, and it's a question about what you're getting for what you'd be paying. If they're going to arbitrarily cut him off at 90, 95 pitches and not let him go an extra inning here, an extra inning there, they're overpaying, right? I mean, that's what it would come down to. Now, I don't know how this ends. Is it possible that AJ ramps him up And in the playoffs, he's thrown 110 pitches in pivotal closeout games, plural. And it goes, oh, okay, this is the plan. We're going to let him go until his arm falls off in the postseason. Okay, then it's all about building up to that point, and you can better justify a big deal. We'll get more of your thoughts. 248-539-9797. It's 97.1.